Newt Gingrich is having a little bit of trouble with his vendors. Now, remember, he said that he owed a little less than $4.5 million. Now, that's a ton of money to owe. And he owes it to real people across the country because you need to do that in all the different states that you were campaigning. You had to buy signs, you had to buy TV time, etc. And now some of those folks are mad, including Larry Scheffler. And he runs Las Vegas Color Graphics. And he says, look, I knew not to trust politicians, and before, I normally have them pay me ahead of time because they're like the skeeviest guys, and you got to have trouble getting paid by them, etc. In this case, somebody he knew was friends with Newt Gingrich and said, oh, come on, Larry, it's Newt, it's going to be fine. No, it's not. Okay, he hasn't been paid to this day, and he's owed over $7,400. Here's a part of what he said. He said, they were going to pay right away. That's what they claimed. But we got burned. I'm badly burned, but I'm still alive. Please have Newt pay me. Okay? So now he's one of many people quoted in a Huffington Post article talking to these vendors. And for example, there is Terry Gutierrez, and I love this. They had decided to make signs for Newt Gingrich in English and in Spanish when he was trying to court Latinos in Florida. When he comes to actually paying those guys, of course, he's a deadbeat. Gingrich's campaign claims they owe them $10,500. Gutierrez says they owe them $24,000. Serves you right for making signs for Newt Gingrich trying to pretend he's in favor of Latinos. Gregory Fournier says that when he worked for them at his company called Insight Political, getting paid was like, quote, going to war. But Fournier definitely deserves it because not only did he not have them pay in advance, by the way, all the vendors did not make that mistake. Some of them said, hey, listen, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. You got to pay me ahead of time. Those guys, of course, got paid. Okay, if you made the mistake of trusting Newt Gingrich, that was a terrible mistake. Fournier gave Newt Gingrich's campaign $2,500. Well, okay, apparently you're giving him a lot more than that because they're not paying you the money for your services. So sad day for you. Now here's another guy, Angel Della Portilla, an Orlando-based political consultant. He says, quote, I have not yet been paid. I have been told numerous times by different people at the senior level of the campaign that I would be paid. I got an email telling me the check was in the mail. If Newt Gingrich tells you that the check is in the mail, I can assure you that it is not in the mail. I love that they went back to the oldest lie in the book, and these guys fell for it. Go ahead, make more. He did the same thing, as in Spanish and English, to try to trick people. Well, guess what? You're the one who got tricked. Now, Newt Gingrich's campaign is in such disarray. When they were trying to get on the ballot, there's a fee in Utah. They bounced the $500 check that you need to get on the ballot. So now he's not on the ballot in Utah. He's got till April 20th to fix that error. But that's kind of disastrous shape that they're in. They're bouncing every check. I mean, God, if you bounce one to get yourself on the ballot, how bad are you in handling finances? And then here's one more quote from our first guy, Scheffler. He says, I can't believe he's talking like this with all the money he owes, and he couldn't care less about the small businesses he's ripping off. Now, that's the one I love. Because the great irony of this story is Newt Gingrich saying, oh my God, I'm for the small businesses. I'm for the job creators. Unless, of course, I'm robbing them blind and not paying them back at all. He's not for the small businesses. He's for robbing the small businesses. And by the way, a lot of his campaign contributions come from really big businesses who would love to crush their competition, which are the small businesses. Newt helping them, ironically, by ripping off those small businesses all across the country. And then second of all, I heard from Newt Gingrich throughout the campaign that he knows fiscal discipline. He knows how to balance a budget. It turns out nothing could be further from the truth. He's $4.5 million in debt here. Remember, just last week we reported to you that his healthcare think tank is also bankrupt. Huffington Post has a different story about how Newt Gingrich has bankrupted at least half a dozen companies over 30 years. It's a trail of debt. This is what he does on a serial basis because the guy's a fraud. So he thinks, well, look, I'm a politician. You give me money, well, then you're a sucker. You're an idiot. You deserve to be robbed for giving money to Newt Gingrich. That's what he's thinking in his own head, so he just doesn't pay you back a lot of times. Well, there you have it. Fiscal discipline in favor of small business and job creators. By the way, look, some of these bills are big enough, they don't get paid, they might have to fire someone. How do you like that for job creation?